So we're going to do a little bit of math review, and this is just basic math review from the online guys. For the ones taking the pesticide exam, that's how we're going to do it. It's coming out straight of the pesticide book for the math that's going to be on the pesticide exam. But it's a good review all the way around for us. So the basic stuff on core, there's not a lot of math out of core. So the basic stuff on core is if you're applying pesticide to a triangular area that has a base of 60 foot and a height of 30 foot, what is the size of this area in square feet? So we should all know. Word problem, right? So they're giving it to us. We're applying pesticide. They ain't telling us how much we're applying the product. Just wants us to get the square feet. It gives it to us. A triangle. Boom. Has a base of 60 feet and a height of 30 feet. All right? So you would have to remember what the formula is for the area of triangle. So A equals, what is it, Sammer? 1/2 base height. I'm pretty sure. So A equals 0.5. A equals 0.5. What's 30 and 60? 0.5. Boom. 900 square feet. So a lot of this stuff, you're going to have to remember, I'm positive on the pesticide exam, they're not going to give you the formulas. They might, I can't remember, it's been so long since I took it, but I'm almost positive that they don't. So you have to remember your formulas. Now, once again, not condoning it, but if you knew how to do this, like formulas, it's just plug and play your number. They're giving you triangular area, base, height. You just have to remember this. So if you needed to go to the restroom and pee, you could pull out that magic thing called a cell phone to refresh your memory on what's the area of a triangle. So, but that's a pretty easy one. The second one that they have on the practice exams is you're applying pesticide. Now this is critical. I want you guys seriously, especially you, Sam, because you know how to do this stuff, right? But you got to remember word problem, okay? And there's the online guys the same way. Word problem and read problem. So you're applying pesticide to a circular area. Boom, we have that. All right. With a 20-foot diameter, what is the size of the area in square feet? Super important for you guys to read this. What did the question ask for? Square feet of this circle. But what did it give you? It gave you the diameter of 20 feet. Does everybody know what diameter versus radius is? Diameter is the measurement completely across a round area, completely across a circle. Right? But that's not how we get the area in square feet of a circle. The area is pi r squared. That's important because the r is radius. Radius is half the circumference. Right? So it would be area equals 3.14. Radius is 10. 10 squared. A equals 3.14 times 100. A equals what, 314? 314 square feet. And boom, the answer is correct. Here's where you're going to get confused. And this is, remember, when those of you taking the pesticide exam, it's a state given exam. The state, much like the government, is out to control you and confuse you. So they're not going to make it easy. So where they screwed you up on this is they gave you circumference. So if you thought you were Johnny on the spot and you're acing the test and you know your math, and you're like, oh God, the first thing I read was circle. Well, I know what circle is, pi r squared. And I just put 20 in there, you're going to get the answer wrong. It gave you the circumference. To get the area, you have to do the radius. The radius is half the circumference. Okay. Justin, you follow on that one, brother? Good deal. And like I said, man, with you, before the end of the semester, we'll do it here. We'll do it on a class period here. Yeah, or just, hey, just come in, we'll punch it up and do it. All right, second one. You have calibrated your equipment to spray 50 gallons per acre. You need to spray 1 acre. So remember when I told you guys about word problem? You start with what you know. All right? So you've got 50 gallons per acre. You need to spray 1 acre. The label calls for 3 pounds of formulation per 100 gallons of water. So formulation, that's product, whatever you want to put it in, whatever you want to put it in. So it calls for 3 pounds, 100 gallons. How much formulation should you add to the tank in order to make 50 gallons of finished spray? Well, let's work it out. So you calibrated at 50 gallons per acre. You need to spray 1 acre. Label calls for 3 pounds of formulation per 100 gallons of water. So let's go. I don't know if we'll have to convert it, but we might. 50 gallons an acre. Okay, this is super easy. I overthought this, right? For the online guys, think about this. I totally overthought this. You got 50 gallons per acre is what you calibrated at, okay? You need to spray 1 acre. It's calling for 3 pounds of product per 100 gallons. But the question asks, how much formulation should you add to the tank in order to make 50 gallons of finished spray? Divide by 2, that's crazy easy. 1.5. So as long as anybody understands this, right? And that's another thing on the pesticide exam. It's going to be very, very similar. They're not going to give you a lot of stuff that's going to be super in depth to get your brain confused. Because you got to remember on this exam that not only young, strapping 18-year-old lads are taking it, but you've got 50, 60, 70-year-old men who have lapsed in their pesticide license. So it's not going to be hard. It's not going to be hard math. But word problems can be confusing. So take your time when you're reading through that, because that almost buffaloed me, right? So it said you calibrate 50 gallons an acre. You're spraying 1 acre. It called for 3 pounds of product per 100 gallons. The question asked, though, how much of this product should you put in the tank to make 50 gallons of finished spray? Well, you calibrated for 50. That's what the label calls for. So you just cut that in half. Boom, 1.5. So let's say, could we do this with another number? Let's say it was, I don't think the acre has, I think you can take the acre out of it, because that's not what the question's calling for. The question ain't calling for that. Let's say it was, okay, boom, super easy. If it was 100 gallons, it'd be 3, right? If it was 200 gallons per acre, 6, right? Is everybody understanding? Sort of, super. Don't let it like, hell, I put that up there too, the acre. The acre's useless. You didn't even need the acre. That's why word problems, I hate them. I hate word problems. I think they're they cause more damage than good when you do that. But just take your time when you're reading it. Okay. Last one out of the core. This is the last math out of the core. The ornamental math's really easy, but it's a lot of steps involved in it. So you want to apply a fungicide to a loam that is 1/4 of an acre. The label indicates a rate of 2 ounces per 1,000 square feet. How many ounces of fungicide will be needed to treat the loam? Okay, so 1/4 of an acre is 0.25. So 1 acre is 43,560. What's 1/4 of 43,560, Sarah? It's calling for 2 ounces per 1,000. So I'm looking at this, and I'm just going to guess right off the bat, right? I want everybody to see this. So I'm not going to look at the answer, right? I want everybody to understand. Calling for a quarter, you got 1/4 of an acre. Acre's 43,560. That's that number. It still keeps popping up, popping up. We need 1/4 of that. That's this number, right? 2 ounces per 1,000. We work in square feet in this business, right? So even if I'm Joe Farmer, who's 65 years old, and my math is way out of proportion, I can look at that and say 2 ounces per 1,000, and I'm spraying for 10,000. It's going to be 20 some ounces, right? Right off the bat, I'm not even going to look. It's going to be 20 something. So it's multiple choice. So I'm going to flip my book. Here's the answers. A, 6.8. B, 9.5. C, 14.2. D, 21.8. Bam. So, am I confusing anybody on this? Right? Like you don't need, you know how we're doing calculations with all our, even the online guys, how we're doing one over God and the steps. See how you don't need that? Like you can almost in your head. The most important thing on this, I think, that would get people confused is breaking that 1/4 acre down. That's the key step in this. So if it would be, if the pesticide exam gave you if this was a 1/2 acre, how would you work the problem? You would get half of 43,560, right? So what's half of 43,560? 1,780. It's calling for 2 ounces, so I'm going to look Yeah. So you know it's going to be in the 40s. So see how easy that is? It's going to times that by the product. So it'd be 40 something. But if you're doing multiple choice, right, you can pick that out. All right, good. Justin, question?
I got it. I just
Okay. Yeah, so like you don't have to do your steps, step one, step two, step three on none of this. You can almost, especially if you got multiple choice answers, you know it's gonna be 40 something. So whatever answers in the 40s, boom, there you go. All right, everybody solid on that so far? And that's the extent. Like, seriously, that's like on the pesticide exam, that's the extent of pretty much what we're doing. Like it's not overthought. We'll get the which is not overthought. Everybody sound that online will be able to see how. Okay. You want to make 2 gallons of a 4% solution. What they mean by this, what they mean by 4% solution, you say 4% active ingredient. It's just another way that the state's trying to confuse you when you're taking this test. So don't overthink this. How have I told you guys to find out what you do? You get the label. You take the label out, you look at it, that's what it's for. But for whatever reason, if you had to do something at 4% of the solution, you want to make 2 gallons of a 4% solution of broadleaf herbicide. How many ounces of herbicide are needed? Right? Super simple. 2 gallons. What is that? A percentage. Okay? What do you need to do to a percentage? Make it into a number that you can work with. Okay? That's 0.04. Okay? Second thing, 2 gallons. How many ounces are in a gallon? 128. 128 times 2 is, multiply that and see what we get. Bam! Exactly. 10.2 something. So it says round to the nearest ounce, so it's 10 ounces in the book, but yes. So I want everybody to understand when you see a word problem like this, you guys have to, if you're taking the test, you got to break this down, right? 128 ounces in a gallon, double that. You got a percentage. That percentage needs to be into a number that you can work with. So you make it to a decimal, then you multiply. There's your answer. Pretty simple. Now, this one, and I'm almost. Okay, here we go. Determine the amount of granular insecticide needed to treat 2 acres. So we have 2 acres. And the label rate calls for 2 pounds per 1,000 square feet. 2 pounds per 1,000. So our first thing that we need to do is what? The 2 acres. 43,560 times 2 is 8,120. The label rate calls for 2 pounds per 1,000. So, okay. You got our acres. All right. Labor rate calls for 2 pounds per thousand. I think we can do this one of two ways. Look, we can go. Multiply by 2 and divide by 1,000. Let's see what that is. Boom. That's it. I see confusion. That's all right. Just I was a hair bit confused myself on this. You could probably do your steps on this one, like you probably could. I'll break her down. So our first step, we know we got to get acres into square feet. This business we work in what? Square feet. So we did that. So that was 87, 120. So we've taken this out of the equation. Now the label calls for 2 pounds per 1,000 square feet. So go ahead and multiply your pounds. Right? Your 2 pounds by this. That gives us what's 170. Okay. We have one more step that we have to do. What do we work in this business? Square feet. Divide by 1,000, 174.2 says round to the nearest pound and 174. Yeah. Definitely see where we're getting that at. Like, I'm almost positive we could do the steps on this one, but you can also do it sort of in your head also. Just know that you got to break acres down, right? Because that's getting into square feet. So you did that. That's a key step. Then it gives you this. The problem gives you this. Right? Take your pounds, multiply by your square feet. You're going to get a number. Divide that by 1,000. That puts everything into perspective. Okay. Last one. Here's how word problems can confuse everyone. Right? I want to read this out, then we want to draw it because it gives you a diagram. So it's going to help you do this. But if I'm reading this and I don't know math and I'm taking a pesticide exam, I'm just skipping this question. So you're applying fungicide to a lawn that measures 200 by 50 feet. In the middle of the lawn is a house that measures 60 by 25 feet, a swimming pool that has a 25-foot diameter. The driveway measures 10 feet by 40 feet, and the label rate is 3 ounces of fungicide per 1,000 square feet. How many ounces of fungicide will be needed to treat this yard? Good God. I ain't even skipping it. When in doubt, choose C, and I'm on to the next question. But this is a super, super easy one to do. Right? They're giving you the diagram. So let's draw out what they told. Take a word problem with what you know and make it work for you. There's my yard. It's 200 by 50. In that is a driveway, 10 foot by 40 foot. You made it right toward the end of class. One of those more. Then you have a house off that. My online. You have a house that's 60 by 25, and a pool with a 25-foot diameter. And it wants you to know how much fungicide you're putting out. So fungicide ever do? How much fungicide you're putting out. We're not spraying the driveway. We're not spraying the house. And we're not spraying the pool. So what would you have to do? You have to find the area of all that and subtract it from the total area of the lawn. So these two are super simple, or at least I hope. The driveway is 10 by 40, length times width, 10 times 40, 400. Right? The house is length times width, 60 times 25. What's 60 times 25? 1,500. And the pool, once again, what is the pool? Area equals pi r squared. Area equals 3.14. Radius squared. A equals 3.14. What is the radius? Oh, well, for the online one. Yeah, like tell them what, like I don't want. Remember what we talked about: circumference and radius. So 12.5. Radius is half. 12.5 squared. A equals 3.14. What's the total? On the total area? 490.625. So now we have to add 400, there's 1,900, and 490.625. Is that right? 23. Did I do my math right? Okay.
So then what? 2,390.
Yeah.
So then you find the area of 50 and
The yard. Yep. So now we do the yard. Length times width. 200 times 50 is. Now we have to minus. We have to take away all that. Is
7,609.375.
point what, Sam?
675.
So there we have our whole area of what needs to be sprayed. Okay?
And that's it.
Oh, hold on. Hold on, Randy. Wait.
I have math problem with this from action math class.
So the label rate calls for 3 ounces of fungicide per 1,000.
3 ounces.
How much do we need? Off the top of your head. 3 ounces per 1,000. You're spraying 7,600. It'd be so, yeah, it'd be like 21 something. Like I'm not even looking at the book because you know this, right? It's going to be 21 something. And the answer is 20, yep, 23. So it says round to the nearest ounce.
And that's it.
Do we see how we got that?
Yeah.
If the label's calling for 3 ounces per 1,000, we're only spraying 7,600 square feet. That's just simple math. You take your 3, multiply that, and it'll give you 23 ounces. So I was telling Randy on the pesticide exam, there's going to be some math. That's what we went over today. But it's simple math, dude.
It's like this.
Like it's 100% like this, 100%, and it's multiple choice. So like if I'm looking at this, here's my options for the answers on this. All right. So let's say I took my time and I did all this. The very first thing people's going to miss is this. They'll miss the pool. It didn't give you the radius. It gave you the diameter or the circumference.
Yeah.
You have to get the diameter. So you've got to get the area. It calls for the area. So you have to cut that in half.
Yeah.
You have to read that word problem. So I would say the very first thing people would miss, they'll get all this and won't get that.
Diameter is the whole thing, right?
Yes.
That's happening.
Diameter is the length of the entire thing.
Circumference is
Downside. Radius is half.
Oh, okay.
The radius is half of what they're giving you. All right. So you got to read the problem. If you read the problem, everybody's going to get it. So you take all those areas that you're not spraying, you're going to get it down to what you are spraying. And it's telling you it's spraying for 3 ounces per thousand. So I'm just going to look at that. Right off the rip, I'm going to say 21 something. It's going to be higher because it's the 6. So I'm going to say 22 in my head. And here are my options. All right. 12 ounces. 23 ounces. 39 ounces. 48 ounces. Ooh, so don't take you don't have to be Stephen Hawking, mathematician.
Sam wrong.
Yeah. to figure it out. It's going to give it, what if because it might not be that, what if it's 2 ounces? It'd be close to like, what, say, yes, 16 ounces. All right. So you don't have to do step 1, step 2, step 3 like you probably could, but like this is just, off the top of your head. All right. Randy, I'm glad you came for the last 30 seconds of class. That's awesome.
I tried to.
that is awesome.
Thank you.